My name is Saima Khan. I'm 47 years old, a widow living in Islamabad, and for the last 5 years I've shared this modest house in F10 with my father and the woman he married after my mother passed. I never thought a single sentence at our dinner table would split my family in two. That night the air in the dining room smelled of fried onions and fresh coriander. The ceiling fan turned slowly, clicking every few seconds like it was keeping time for us. Baba sat at the head of the table, his white kurta loose on his thin shoulders, spoon trembling a little in his hand because the diabetes had started stealing his strength. My stepmother, Nadia, sat opposite me, her dupatta neatly pinned, smiling the way she always did when she wanted something. My 22-year-old son, Ahmed, was away studying in Lahore, so it was just the three of us. We were halfway through the dalchawal when Nadia set her spoon down and said, clear and sweet, "Families share money, Saima. That's what families do." The words landed between us like a stone in still water. I felt my throat tighten. Baba kept eating, eyes on his plate. I forced a small laugh. Of course, Ammi. We all help each other. But inside, something cold settled behind my ribs. For 5 years I had told myself we were doing fine. I work as a senior accountant at a small firm in Blue area. Every month I give Baba 30,000 rupees for household expenses and another 20 for his medicines and doctor visits. I keep the rest in a separate savings account for Ahmed's final year and for the small flat I dream of buying one day. Nadia has 2 grown sons from her first marriage. They live in Rawalpindi and rarely visit, but their names come up often enough, especially the older one, Bilal, who always seems to be between jobs. Before Nadia came into our lives, Baba and I had a quiet rhythm. I would come home from work, make him ginger tea, and we would sit on the veranda listening to the azan from the nearby mosque. He would tell me stories about my mother, how she used to scold him for forgetting to wear his sweater. We laughed easily then. After the wedding, the laughter became polite. Nadia cooked well, kept the house spotless, and never raised her voice. But lately I had noticed small changes. She would ask casually how much I earned in bonuses. She would sigh about the rising cost of everything and glance toward the cupboard where I kept the household ledger. I told myself I was being unfair. She was family now. Families share money. That night, after dinner, I helped clear the plates. Nadia's hand brushed mine as she passed me the bowl of salad. Her fingers were cool, steady. "You're a good daughter, Saima," she said softly. "Baba is lucky to have you." Her eyes didn't match the warmth in her voice. There was something behind them, calculation maybe, or worry. I smiled and said goodnight. Later, in my room, the fan still clicking overhead, I couldn't sleep. The words kept circling. Families share money. I kept seeing the way Baba had looked down at his plate, the way Nadia had watched me after she spoke. A small voice inside me whispered that something was wrong. Pushed it away. I had work in the morning. Ahmed would call on Sunday. Life would go on. But the house felt different now. The walls seemed to hold their breath. The next few days passed in that same careful rhythm. I left for the office early, came back tired, helped with dinner, and tried not to let Nadia's words settle too deep. But suspicion has a way of growing in small silences. One evening I came home to find Baba sitting on the sofa, looking smaller than usual. His hands were folded in his lap, and he was staring at the old family photo on the wall, me, him, and my late mother on my wedding day. Nadia was in the kitchen, humming softly while chopping vegetables. The smell of ginger and garlic filled the air, comforting and familiar, yet something felt off. "Baba, are you okay?" I asked, sitting beside him. He nodded slowly, but his eyes didn't meet mine. "Beta," Nadia was saying, "the house needs some repairs. The roof is leaking in the back room when it rains. And Bilal's wife is expecting again. They need help with hospital bills." My stomach tightened. Bilal's wife expecting. This was the first I'd heard of it. I kept my voice steady. "How much are we talking about?" He hesitated, then mumbled, "Maybe 2 lakhs, just to help family. 200,000 rupees. My savings for Ahmed's education and my own future." I felt heat rise in my cheeks but swallowed it down. "Let me think about it, Baba. We can discuss properly." Nadia appeared in the doorway, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Her smile was gentle, almost motherly. "Saima, don't worry. We are one family now. What's yours is ours and what's ours is yours. That's how it should be, right?" I nodded, but inside I was calculating. Last month I had noticed a few small withdrawals from the joint household account. Nothing major, just a few thousand here and there. I had brushed it off as grocery or medicine expenses. Now those small numbers started to add up in my mind like quiet accusations. That night, I couldn't ignore the unease anymore. After everyone went to bed, I quietly opened the drawer where I kept the household ledger and bank statements. The room was dark except for the small lamp on my desk. The papers smelled faintly of old ink and dust. As I flipped through the pages, my heart started beating faster. There it was. Over the last 4 months, nearly 1,20,000 rupees had been transferred from the main savings. Money I had been contributing into an account I didn't recognize. The beneficiary name was Bilal Ahmed, Nadia's son. My hands trembled as I stared at the entries. Some were labeled house repairs, others medical emergency. But the amounts were too neat, too regular. I sat there in the dim light, the fan still clicking above, feeling the weight of betrayal settle in my chest. Not just money, trust. The quiet understanding I thought we had built as a family. I didn't confront her that night. I closed the ledger, turned off the light, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Tears stung my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I kept thinking of Baba, frail and caught in the middle, of Ahmed, who worked so hard and deserved a secure future, and of myself, how I had tried so hard to make this blended family work after losing my husband. The next morning at breakfast, Nadia served paratha with extra ghee, just the way Baba liked. She chatted lightly about the weather, about a new recipe she wanted to try. Baba smiled weakly. I ate in silence, watching her. Every smile now looked practiced. Every kind word felt like a cover. I decided then, I wouldn't explode. I would be calm like always, but I needed to know the full truth before anything else. That evening, while Nadia was out visiting a neighbor, I took a deep breath and checked the bank app on my phone again. More transfers. Smaller ones, but consistent. And then a larger one, 50,000. Just 2 days after she had spoken those words at dinner. Families share money. My chest felt tight. The house that had once felt like home now carried the heavy scent of deception. I waited until the weekend when Ahmed came home from Lahore for a short break. The house smelled of fresh biryani that Nadia had cooked specially, saffron and cardamom drifting through the rooms like nothing was wrong. Baba looked happy seeing his grandson, but I could see the strain behind his eyes. We sat down for dinner, the same wooden table, the same clicking fan, but the air between us had changed. After the meal, when Nadia went to the kitchen to make tea, I spoke quietly to Baba. Baba, I saw the bank statements, the transfers to Bilal, over 1.5 lakhs in 4 months. From the money I give every month. He froze, spoon halfway to his mouth. His face went pale. Saima, it's family. Nadia said Bilal needed help urgently. Hospital, then the baby coming. She didn't want to burden you directly. My voice stayed calm, though my hands shook under the table. Burden me? I have been giving more than half my salary for this house. For your medicines, for everything. And you both went behind my back. Nadia walked back in carrying the tea tray. She must have heard the last part because her steps slowed. She set the tray down carefully, the cups rattling slightly. Saima. Beta, let me explain. No, I said, looking straight at her. Explain why you told me families share money, while quietly moving my savings to your son. Explain why you never once sat with me openly. Explain why Baba looks so tired now. She sat down, her dupatta slipping a little from her shoulder. For the first time, her calm mask cracked. Her eyes filled with tears, but I wasn't sure if they were real or practiced. Bilal lost his job again. His wife had complications in pregnancy. We thought if we asked directly you might say no. You work so hard, but you keep your own accounts separate. I felt we were not truly one family. Baba looked between us, his hands trembling worse than usual. Saima, she is your mother now. We should help. The word stung. Mother. The woman who had replaced mine was taking from my future to give to hers. I felt the heartbreak sharp and deep, but I kept my voice steady. Baba, I never said I wouldn't help in emergencies, but this was planned. This was hidden. Trust is not something you take without asking. Ahmed, who had been listening quietly from the corner, finally spoke. Dadi, you should have talked to Ami first. That money was partly for my fees too. The room fell silent except for the fan. Nadia wiped her eyes. I'm sorry, Saima. I was scared. Scared that if I asked, you would see me only as the stepmother taking advantage. I looked at her for a long moment. There was fear in her voice, real fear of being cast out or judged. But fear didn't excuse the betrayal. We could have talked. Instead, you chose secrecy. That breaks more than money ever could. The next day, the truth started spreading in its own quiet way. I sat with Baba and explained everything with bank records printed out. He cried a little, ashamed and torn. I didn't shout. I simply said I would continue supporting the house, but from now on, all expenses would be transparent. No more hidden transfers. Nadia's sons would have to manage their own emergencies or ask openly. Word traveled slowly through the extended family. Relatives called, some taking sides, some staying neutral. Nadia's older son Bilal even called once, defensive at first. But when I calmly explained the amounts and the secrecy, his tone softened into awkward silence. Nadia stayed quieter after that. She still cooked, still kept the house, but the easy smiles were gone. There was distance now, a necessary boundary. I didn't seek revenge. I didn't throw anyone out. I simply protected what was left. My peace, my son's future, and my own dignity. I opened a new savings account only in my name and started teaching Ahmed how to manage money wisely. Baba began to understand the difference between sharing and being taken from. Months passed. The house is still the same. Same smells of tea and spices. Same fan clicking overhead, but I feel lighter. I forgave, not because they deserved it fully, but because carrying bitterness would only hurt me and Baba more. Nadia and I speak politely now, but the warmth is gone. That's the cost of broken trust. Looking back, I realize families don't automatically share money. Real families share respect, honesty, and open hearts first. Money follows trust, never the other way around. This is my story of learning that lesson the hard way.